Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tall Tales podcast.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Levi, you were sicky last week.
Yeah. It was feeling a little under the weather, but we're doing good now. Back at it, ready to get another podcast done.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because I really did miss. I missed you last week. I missed you.
Yeah, I have a tendency to have that happen around,
around Saturday morning, feeling a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! So this week we had the great idea because of how much shit, mostly I like to speak on Indiana's hunting laws, that we would read each other a few of the dumbest hunting laws we could find, and we're just gonna react to them. So. Do you want to go ahead and start?
Got it.
Why don't we let you
So we
start?
got David Hill from New York saying you need to purchase a muzzleloading license to hunt with a crossbow along with an archery license. So you have to have a muzzleloader license to hunt with a crossbow.
Is that because you have to put the arrow in the front?
Well, I think because in New York and a lot of states like that, you can only crossbow hunt if you're like handicapped. So like a lot of that stuff is like handicapped deal.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with needing a muzzleloader tag?
Well, that's true. It's not even a tag; it's a license.
Just a license. That has to be some shit where it's like, oh, because you're feeding the arrow through the front, it's technically, even though it doesn't have a muzzle, you are muzzle loading it.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one from Wisconsin. This is one that I thought was really interesting. There is no minimum age on rifle hunting anymore, so at any age they can buy a tag and fill it as long as they pull the trigger. There were children under 1 year of age registered a deer last year in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin? Well, that's what I've always said personally is if I ever have a son, he's going to shoot since the day he comes out of the womb. I mean,
right.
He's definitely, all I got to do is put his little finger up there and press it back, and technically he shot the deer. That is the most Wisconsin thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, yeah, my 1-year-old killed the state record buck. It wasn't out of a window of a truck or anything, but I got a good one here. Bigfoot hunting rules. Some states make it abundantly clear that Bigfoot hunting is allowed. Oklahoma has even offered up a bounty on the beast, brought in alive, of nearly $3 million. Others have no rulings on it, making it perfectly acceptable. So, where permitted, follow your hearts, stone cold killers. I mean, what, are we going to start adding Bigfoot seasons in so that way we don't bring them in with worms?
I think
Like a rabbit or a squirrel. I never thought I'd read that there's... That just sounds like Oklahoma, too, though. Just so bored. Like, hey, why don't you go out and hunt Bigfoot for a while? Like, what the hell? Oh, you just tell the game wardens, yeah, I'm hunting Bigfoot with my 30-06 with a night vision scope, and it's definitely not that 170-inch buck that's been standing out in my field I'm going after.
Mm-hmm.
I got another one. No, this one says, another American hunter special in Wyoming. It's illegal to photograph rabbits from January to April without a permit. Are they afraid that the flash is going to give them seizures, and they're just going to drop over, or what?
Something.
I didn't know rabbits were epileptic.
Was the Bigfoot one you said, was it Texas or Washington?
That was Oklahoma. Oh, you found more on Bigfoot?
So, in Texas, it's legal to hunt and shoot Bigfoot, although the state has no official position on Bigfoot. According to Texas Park and Wildlife Commission, Bigfoot would be considered a non-protected, non-game animal which can be hunted on private property with the landowner's consent at any time without a bag limit. And here's another one for Sasquatch in Washington. You can't kill Bigfoot in Skamania County, Washington, which considers itself a Bigfoot refuge. And in fact, a 1969 ordinance states that killing this endangered ape-like creature can get you a year in jail, or a $1,000 fine, or both. But scientists looking to study and photograph Bigfoot are welcome.
Hold on.
In California,
that's what I was going to read.
You can't eat a frog that you kill or that just happens to die. It is participated in a frog jumping competition. If it has participated in a frog jumping competition. California just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
Oh, well, this one's no fun. You can't hunt wildlife using explosives in Alabama, so no matter how desperate you get, you got to leave that dynamite out of your hunting pack. Well, that's just bullshit. I mean, I don't go in the woods without at least a pack of dynamite, if not some C4 and a little bit of tannerite. I mean, what are you supposed to do at this point?
Utah, Arizona, and Nevada have banned the use of all trail cameras for hunting, and Montana prohibits the use of cellular cams during hunting season. According to an article published on Realtree.com, Western bans have been mostly about elk and mule deer. On some water holes, as many as 50 or more cams have been placed by hunters scouting these spots. Could eastern states be regulated next? I hope not.
No, it's bullshit. I mean, what does it matter? It's not like you're going to shoot the deer through the fucking cam. That's what I've never understood, is they say it's unfair. Why? Why? It's just sending me a picture that the deer is there. I know the deer are there.
It doesn't mean I'm going to get it.
It doesn't mean I'm going to... Yeah, what is it going to do? Text me. Well, this deer, I've very few times I've seen a deer be consistent enough to where, especially bucks, to where I've been like, oh, this trail camera's really giving me the leg up. Like, I'm just like, oh, cool, that buck is here somewhere. Now I go find him. This is a good one. In Alaska, you can't whisper in the ear of someone who is moose hunting. After all, concentration is important. Just hold your tongue until he or she has taken the shot. So you mean to tell me that I can't be like, hey, dumbass, your bow is set at 80 yards and he's kind of standing at 30. So I just have to sit and watch you miss over something that simple because Alaska.
Here's another one with Alaska. A little booze and a shove. You also can't give a moose an alcoholic beverage or push a live moose out of moving airplane in Alaska. Yeah. Of course, if you're about to attempt to push a live moose out of a plane, it might make it a bit easier if you first give the animal a beer to relax a bit. According to this article in the Montecito Journal, the airplane law came about because years ago the town of some Alaskan town, came up with a contest that involved putting numbers on moose and poo and dropping the poo from an airplane. Town folks would gather the droppings with the winner finding the prize number. Of course, PETA took offense and protested because organization members falsely believed that actual moose were being dropped from the plane. So city officials banned the dropping of the moose and of their poo from airplanes.
Well, I just want to make a valid point here. Every time PETA opens its mouth about something, if they think you're going to take a live moose and force it out of a fucking plane by yourself,
they don't sedated.
Yeah, they don't know how big a moose is.
Huge, yeah.
They're ungodly. Want to up the challenge a bit when hunting small game? You could give slingshot hunting a try depending on the critter and the state you're hunting it. Some states allow it with certain regulations and some states don't. That's just a list. So,
here's a good one. According to the American Hunter, it is against the law to fall asleep outside on the ground with your shoes on. That means no naps in the deer woods unless you first pull off the boots. And that's in North Dakota.
Well, I hate to tell you, I would be a felon out there because there's nothing more comfortable and calming than sitting in the woods and just taking a nap. Where I'm from, this is now I'm reading some people who are telling their stories. This guy's from New York. He says, where I'm from, we are a 2-buck state. I would like to be able to take both bucks during the regular archery season rather than one with the bow and have to wait until the regular gun season for the second. Why does that matter? Why does it matter when you kill them? You're going to shoot them either way. Stuff like that. Some of these are making me believe that Indiana actually isn't so crazy, and I should be grateful.
Speaking of one for Indiana, barehanding fishing. Again, per American Hunter, Indiana does not allow people to catch fish barehanded. I guess that cuts out noodling for the entire state.
Well, that is just... Why? Why? Is it going to be an insurance
claim? I think it would be fun to do. Go down the Ohio River, especially, and there's big old cats down there. That'd be something Ben needs to get into.
Yeah. This one's for, let's do Kentucky, somewhere close. My state should make real tags instead of a piece of paper you have to try to keep tied on deer and have the deer or turkey checked at a check station. There are a lot of deer being poached. Well, that's just because you live in Kentucky. That has nothing to do with the paper tag.
They make that little paper tag look so cool online, or like on the hunting shows and stuff.
Well, I'm okay with the ones
I've
that
never done them.
like the buck tags that go around the antler.
Where you wrap it like little sticky wrap, and then you gotta notch it out.
Yeah, those are cool. Like if you do something like that, or don't make them paper. Like
it's not as common as around here, but when you go out west and whatnot, you see a lot of them doing it. Like on the hunting shows and whatnot, especially. Most of them you see, they're using that wraparound sticker on the antler.
Huh. This one is out of Illinois. We cannot use rifles to hunt unless it's a muzzleloader. Pistols may be used, but only 36 and bigger, and must be a revolver. Our firearms season consists of deer slugs, which I'm not complaining, but still odd considering you can use whatever means to kill any other animals. I don't get... Well, I mean, I kind of get that, too, if they're trying to... That one's not so much dumb. It's just a state regulation. I mean, high-powered rifle, I mean, once you get up north, it gets pretty flat.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be more concerned in an area like that. I mean, they could do what Indiana's
you're going out
done.
to places like where it's the prairies and you got mountainsides and shit like that where you're actually cracking out 500, 600-yard shots where, yeah, you can get that shot in Indiana, but it's just, you know, me personally, I've never had to shoot deer no more than 150, maybe 200 yards.
Right.
Here's another one. In Arizona, you may not hunt camels. As odd as it sounds, you never heard of this one before. It always comes up on a list similar to this. We did not know there were camels running around Arizona. Number 2, it is legal for a blind individual to hunt in Texas. I've seen that, and I think that's pretty cool, though.
It's illegal
because,
for
like,
what?
It's legal for a blind individual to hunt in Texas.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you'll see them, and they'll have like a monitor for the other person that's hunting with them to see where they're aiming at, and they basically just help them out, and then they'll pull the trigger, you know. I think that's pretty neat.
Here's one that I agree with out of Indiana. Baiting is prohibited, but you can hunt a kill plot, but you can't have bait anywhere on your property or contaminated soil. It's against the law. So that's always been my question. What is the difference if I go out and plant clover and radishes compared to if I throw a thing of deer cane out? At the end of the day,
because beets and roots are considered like an actual like crop.
Yeah,
and
but still,
technically you can hunt over a crop like a bean field or a corn field because it's not having any additives or, you know what I mean, like attractants in it, you know, that are going to lure that deer to it. My personal opinion, I think.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but at the same point, if I'm purely planting clover field, I'm not going to harvest the clover. Everyone knows I'm not going to harvest the clover.
Right.
It's there for the deer. So at that point, am I not baiting?
To an extent, yeah, but then again,
I guess it is a natural thing.
Planting it and then growing it, yeah.
I guess.
Rather than just chucking it out there. Here's one that is kind of interesting. Bow hunters in New Hampshire must put their name and address on all their arrows.
I've seen that before.
I've never heard of that.
There's another state that Maine does that as well. Here's a good one out of... We need to move to New Jersey, apparently. This guy says, season is way too long. Beginning of September to middle of February. And allowed to take 6 bucks. Also, unlimited does allowed in certain zones. You're telling me I can go up there and lay down 6 deer. Now, granted, I have watched a few people hunt in New Jersey. And their quality of deer is not the best buck-wise.
I'd like to go up there to either New Jersey or New York and go on a black bear hunt. Whenever I was in the service and was up in New York and got to see black bear for the first time ever. I've been to Tennessee and literally every other state's got a bear. I've never seen one. Went up to New York, seen more bears there my entire life than I've seen anywhere. But here's one for them cats down in Florida. In Florida, it is illegal to molest a key deer.
Oh,
really? So you know some motherfucker had to do that for them to ban it, and then you're like, "What? I can't even believe this is we're having to make this a rule." But like, don't molest a key deer. It's Florida.
I didn't think that it's Florida.
Yeah,
I didn't think that'd have to be a law, but as soon as you said Florida, I was like, yeah.
Here you go. It is illegal to shoot a buffalo from a second-story hotel window in Texas.
I gotta hear this. Is there a story about it, or is that
Certainly an ode to the old days when they had a home where the buffalo roamed. Is the caption under that one.
Billy the Kid was out there just letting them fly. Let's see.
Connecticut states that you may not hunt gray squirrel, rabbit, or other fur-bearing creatures with dynamite, fire, smoke, brimstone, sulfur, gas, or chemical.
Well, how else are you going to kill the little bag? You think I can hit a running rabbit even with a shotgun?
Right.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. In Ohio, you can't kill more than one deer per hunt legally. In quotations. You have to check a deer in before killing another. At least that's what the game warden told me.
Right.
Well,
right.
Oh man, this stuff is crazy.
Oh yeah. It just makes you sit there and wonder who is the guy that did this for them to be like, okay, this has to be a law now because this guy is either doing something right and we're mad about it, or he did something really bad like them cats in Florida, and it's just like, I can't believe we're saying this, but yeah, just don't molest deer.
Well, so here's a weird one from Michigan, the land of my people. In the upper peninsula of Michigan, we can't use a crossbow during the late bow season, while it is open in the lower peninsula and all bow season. Why does it matter if you're in the UP then?
Right.
If the rest of the state can, I mean... I'll have to talk to some of my family and see what the deal is about that. Michigan probably gave them a bullshit excuse for it anyway. Huh. So, this is a weird one, just because I'm used to Indiana. In New York, no deer hunting until actual time of sunrise and sunset in western New York. Because we can shoot 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. So that's crazy. You lose a whole hour of hunting.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, you can see pretty clear before the 30 minutes sometimes. I mean, you can probably see about 35 minutes before sunrise.
I'll tell you something about New York. Like, when it gets... I think you get less amount of sunlight there than other places around the United States. I don't know exactly how it works, but when I was up there, I can notice that, like, I'll be on the phone with my mom or something. Or be, like, video calling her. And then, like, it was pitch black outside where I was at by, like, 5 or 6, especially during the winter times, especially. But then, looking at mom's, background back at home, and it's still sunlight, obviously. But, so I see where that's a rule.
Ooh, I'm never public land hunting in Wisconsin. I'm too lazy for this. Not being
no
able to...
motorized vehicles or anything on it? You gotta walk to your stand and everything?
No.
Oh.
No, okay, I'm not that bad. Damn. Not being able to leave a tree stand or a blind up overnight on public land. I'm not hauling a 20-pound fucking blind chair, everything set up, and then hauling it out by myself.
My
I'm not
stand's out there
it.
year round.
Oh, and then this man out of Kansas says none. I'm happy to follow all rules and regulations in my state. You're just trying to get in good with the DNR because your fucking name's on here. Don't try to lie to me.
That is not like to have fun, apparently.
So this guy says in Texas a 13-inch wide rule with no cull buck tagging. So
I think that's good.
I think
good
it
deer
is
management.
But here's my thing. You have to be damn good at guessing width at that point. At 100 yards, it is really hard to tell the difference between a 12-inch spread and a 13-inch spread. So you mean tell me you just have to wait until you're like, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that little 7-point I killed, it's got a 12-inch spread, so I could always sit there and think of that as long as it's a small deer. I mean, 12.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not a huge spread.
Wide, yeah.
About the average.
It depends on what kind of hunter you are, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trophy hunting and you're wanting to get that big one, you can obviously tell. But I think maybe like they should let youth hunters be able to shoot any size just to get them into the sport, and then as you turn 18, then maybe change it to where like, hey, you gotta shoot now. It's got to be at least 13
Well,
inches
that's
wide.
with Michigan. So their regulation, I believe, is you can kill 2 bucks. Or at least where my family's from. You can kill 2 bucks. One has to have 3 points on one side. One has to have 4 points on one side. Which I like that better than having to have a certain spread or, whatever. Because you're just inviting someone to be like, well, he looked like he had a 13-inch spread. Which I guess... most deer that we've killed and measured normally have about a 14-inch spread is about to the ears.
Yeah.
If they're just outside the ears, you're safe. So I guess it's not a bad rule.
Like that
now
18,
that I think
or
about
not
it.
that 18, that 8-point that I got, I think it was maybe 15 or 16 inches wide.
Yeah, that's Reginald, the deer that's been in the back of our YouTube videos lately. He's a 16-inch spread 8, so that was something to behold. When you're used to a 14-inch deer, you don't think a 16 would look that different, but
yeah. And as you go on, you'll be able to score deer better. Not getting an exact score, but getting an approximate score on them. Like, this is a buck that I want to take, or this is a buck that I need to let go for next year to be a decent sized buck.
I'll tell you one a lot of people complain about in Indiana, and I don't understand. I don't know if they just don't realize like why it's a law. But a lot of the guys that run dogs and everything for rabbits, they complain about the season, like when it falls, and they want it to be spring and summer. But the problem is squirrel and rabbits are prone to worms.
Yeah.
So that's why it's later in the year, is to hopefully kill that stuff out, and you don't have to worry about the meat being contaminated as much. So that's one I agree with that a lot of people don't like. I think it's weird that we have a quail season south of I-64 or whatever it is. When, I've never seen a quail down here.
I'll tell you what, and yeah, it's funny you say that, because there's a property that I hunted on, and this was years ago. I was youth hunting, and I was walking a bean field, and this was in September during youth season, so it was like scorching hot still. And I shot one, but when I was walking through the bean field, I stirred up a whole mess of quail. And I didn't think anything of it, And, I go to talk to old timers at the, general store, and I'm telling them I seen this, and they're like, no, do not tell anyone about that. Here we are telling it on the podcast.
But, no one knows where it's at.
Right. But he said that it is really rare to have that many quail. There's every bit of 15 to 20 of them, and I thought that was cool. I haven't seen them since, but that don't mean they're not there.
Yeah.
Because they're a very elusive bird. They're small, they'll burrow in like tall grass. You'll never, you'll see them 1 minute and they're gone next.
I really want a pheasant hunt. I know a buddy that hunts.
My grandpa killed a pheasant out west, and he said it was really fun.
Well,
I don't want to do it so much as where like they open up a box and then I shoot it.
Yeah.
I want to go actually out there with dogs and look for one.
That's what one of my buddies hunts about an hour from here, and he pheasant hunts and has killed a couple good ones. So
heck yeah.
I've
never ate it, and I did something I'd like to eat and try out.
I'm a dove hunt this year. Speaking of stuff I want to eat, I've never got to try a dove, and Dad says it's the best wild game. No,
let me tell you what.
If it beats turkey, I'll be impressed, because wild turkey is my favorite.
Absolutely does. You wrap that, you put some cream cheese in that mug and jalapenos and put some bacon around that mug. Ooh, that's a fucking delicacy, man. Delicacy.
I'm a fat man. You gotta be careful. My mouth's starting to water over here, and it ain't dove season.
I hear you.
What's the other one? Oh, so a lot of people complain too. I don't know if you've heard it. I've heard a lot of complaints about us only being able to kill one turkey a year. And funny enough, I've talked to a bunch of my uncle before he passed. He always told me, like, every time we saw turkeys, he'd just smile. And I asked him about it, and he's like, "Well, when I was growing up, there was no turkeys."
It was not. Deer were just like that too. Our Spanish teacher, or school we went to, he told us that he never saw a deer till he was about 16 or 17 in his whole life, because they were not common.
Well, it seems like it's all flipped around, because going back to my uncle, he always said, he was 93 when he died, but he said whenever he was younger, all there was to hunt really was rabbit and squirrel. He said you could go deer hunting.
And it's crazy to think that they never hardly seen any deer back in the day, but now, like, Indiana's like one of the top 3 deer hunting states in the United States. And
we have some of the biggest bucks as well.
Especially in our area, when we're on that Kentucky-Indiana border, you're getting Kentucky bucks too, and Kentucky is another top 3 hunting state. We got Illinois too, right next to us. You get deer. If you're
Ohio.
crazy to think that we're not getting deer from states all around us, you're silly.
So we're bordered by Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky.
You don't think them big Kentucky bucks ain't swimming across the river? You're wrong. I've seen it time and time.
Well, one of my cousins works on the barge, and he says they've almost hit bucks before just swimming across the river. That's just crazy.
One of the biggest bucks I seen, I was fishing, doing a little catfishing, and I seen this deer. I mean, I think he counted 12 is when I could stop counting points on him. Because then he got up out of the river, got up, shook it off like it was nothing, and just walked right up to the bean field. And I was like, damn, dude. Resilient motherfucker.
Must be some good ass to swim across the river for it. These Indiana does are built different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy to me how much the diversity of animals has changed, because now
next year we're getting our bobcat season.
Yeah,
I'm pumped up about that because there's the place I hunt at got plenty of those everywhere, and I'm tired of them. I wholeheartedly believe that is the reason why I don't see as many turkeys as where I hunt. Because where I hunted, I used to see turkeys all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, I still see turkeys, but not as many as I'd like to see. And I wholeheartedly believe that is bobcats taking eggs and killing birds themselves, you know?
Yeah, I think raccoons are a big problem around here,
like,
too.
Allegedly, they put rattlesnakes in Indiana to control the turkey population, which...
And that went well.
I'd say, I think there's one time in my life, actually, I have heard a rattler where I was hunting, and let me tell you, that is the most terrifying thing, because that rattle is so loud, and you don't know, that snake could be 500 yards from you, or he could be right there, just how loud that rattle is. Maybe 500 yards is exaggeration, but you catch my drift.
I don't want
you
no
hear
part
rattling,
of that.
yeah, I heard rattling, and I immediately got into the open field where I could see all around my feet.
Yeah,
like, the hell with that, the last thing I'm going to do is get bit by a damn rattlesnake and die out here.
Oh man, but yeah, it is just crazy to sit back and think, like, hunting laws that, you know,
what they've done to control certain populations of the different animals there.
Some things are good, and other things you're like, well, this is kind of
and that's
pointless.
The whole process. Like I've always said with hunting, it's trial and error, both on a management side, you know, with the state and whatnot, and also us as hunters.
Yeah,
you know,
we have to do our part as well.
Absolutely.
But I do believe that is a good ending point.
Absolutely.
We're trying not to run and ramble as much as we did on episode 2, but it was just so much fun. And if we ramble, it adds some good funny moments. But we're getting ready to go film refilm your bow setup.
Yeah.
Because
that's gonna be fun.
God forbid I check lighting and have good lighting in an area. But yeah, that should be coming out Wednesday, I do believe. And
thank for y'all checking in and listening to us. You know, we try to post podcast every weekend or so, every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Yep. I'm trying so the upload schedule is going to try to be a podcast on Sunday, a video on Wednesday.
We are now on Apple Music. If you haven't already seen our Facebook post, and a lot of people are going on about that, wanting to get on Apple Music.
We are now
on Apple Music now. Y'all get on there, look up Tall Tales TV, correct?
I believe it is.
Yep,
yes.
Tall Tales TV, and you'll have our podcast on there.
So now we are on. We upload the podcast to YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music.
And just for the record, the YouTube channel is.
I know. I was about to say that.
Awesome
I'm
views, and
very, very happy with how the YouTube's looking. I released.
And we couldn't do it without you all.
No, we could not.
Ones that are taking the time out of your day to listen to us ramble on and whatnot, but we do it all for you all.
Yep. My bow build is up almost to 1.3K, and then Ben's is quickly going towards 1,000 views, and that is something that really, whenever we started doing it
like in the YouTube world, that may not be as big, but to us starting out, that's amazing. There's 1,000 people willing to take time out of their day to watch us, do something that we're passionate about.
At least click on it, and
absolutely.
see what it's about.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. It really, because I've had YouTube channels and videos in the past, and the most I ever had, which are, granted, younger, cringy, no one cared, no good, didn't put half the time I do it now, but it really makes, because between the podcast and the YouTube video, we're going to be uploading, I'll spend 8 to 12 hours.
We're always looking for suggestions from you all too.
Yes.
Get on Facebook, all of our social medias. If there's a certain topic that you want to see or want to have us talk about, by all means, we're open ears and we're willing to talk about anything, about the outdoors. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. But it really has been great to sit and see, 8 to 12 hours of editing plus an hour to 2-3 of filming. Really, has been working and putting the extra time to make the thumbnails and everything. And
Right.
it's really, I think, kind of lit a fire under us
Absolutely.
to just try to keep improving. So hopefully the next big thing will be audio improvement, because I have seen a lot of comments about that. It would be nice to get a second mic.
That's another thing I've heard
But
as well.
we are just blue collar.
We're
We
just
don't, we don't
we're
have
just
all the money in the
starting out,
world
you
for
know.
this.
Say we're pretty busy with our work schedules. We're just finding time out of our time to go out here and do this.
Yeah.
Slowly but
Doing it
surely
for fun and
slowly
see
but
where it
surely
goes.
we'll get better. We're gonna get a better camera, a better mic, and whatnot. Just the more support you all give us, the more that we can continue on with this adventure.
Yeah. But I think that'll do. Once
Absolutely.
again, thank you all very, very much for the support that we've been seeing, and I hope to see it continue. But at the end of the day, it is just a fun thing for us, but we would love to be able to just keep doing it.
Yep.
And it's really, really something we didn't expect. So
Absolutely.
but I think that is it. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. Like I said, 2 videos a week, 1 podcast, 1 video. And then, like we said, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. The podcast will be up on all of those. So we will see you all later.